Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you what is the Contextual CTA feature on Wisp and how it can help you boost conversions on your content, right? So first up, why do we go about creating Contextual CTA, right? At the end of the day, we are trying to help content marketers like yourself boost conversions from traffic's landing on some of your content, for instance, through the blog, right? And how we do that is that we want to create unique journeys for different type of audiences that lands on your site. The idea behind it is that when you have a lot of blog content on your website, you are likely going to attract different kind of user personas on there. And these users are there for different reasons with different job to be done when they read your content on the website. And we don't want to throw them the same call to action regardless of what kind of content they are reading, right? Rather than that, we use AI to personalize the call to actions matching so that we serve the right call to action depending on what your user is reading, right? So that sounds like a mouthful, but I'm going to show you how Wisp is using it right now, right? So for Wisp, we have many different kind of audience landing on sites for various different reasons, right? So take for instance, sometimes we do have software engineers or head of engineering or VP of engineering or even early stage startup CTO who are looking for various information about, let's say, deploying and managing environment variables on Next.js, right? So this is certainly not an article that marketers are interested in, right? So if I throw a call to action that's very generic, try our CMS, that's not going to land on for this crowd. Rather than that, we can tell these engineering leaders, that you can get your engineers' time back from marketing, right? Don't let managing a blog get in the way of your core products, and we empower your marketing team to create and manage content on your site without consuming more engineering hours. And this is their concern, right? They don't want to be spending more engineering hours, updating blog, fixing typo, attaching CTAs, attaching recommended blog posts and all of that, right? And this is a contextual CTA for the engineering leader who is reading our blog right now. So separately for a marketing leader or a content marketer, right? He or she is thinking about how to create more engaging content, what kind of 0 to 1 content distribution ideas that he or she needs to have, right? And for that we have a newsletter, right? The call to action is simple. Getting started with content is hard, and here are some strategies that you can use to research, write, and distribute content that guarantees traffic without you praying to the SEO god, right? So imagine taking this CTA and putting it in front of engineering leaders. That's not gonna fly, right? And likewise, right, for our blog, we also have many decision makers that are just are already committed to the idea of purchasing a headless CMS, but they might be comparing one to another, right? And sometimes they can land on our site on articles like how to choose a headless CMS for your startup, right? And the contextual CTA is then, well, are you choosing a CMS? Why not try Wisp as the most delightful and intuitive way to manage your content, right? And the call to action button here is actually to try out our editor, right? So these are all contextual to the article, and for that reason we can actually drive and multiply our conversion rate from our content itself, right? So you might be wondering how does it work and how can I get it working for my blog and my website. To do that, you really only need to answer two questions, right? Number one, who are you receiving on your website, and that leads you to what kind of CTAs or call to actions are available, right? Are you asking them to sign up on a newsletter? Are you asking them to sign up for your site? Are you asking them to start a free trial? Are you asking them to contact you and and whatnot? So you have to start off designing your call to action. So over here you can see on the right side, right, that's all the different kind of CTAs that I have. There's 3 different designs right here, right? And the second question to that is that, okay, so now you have your CTA. What is the best content to show the CTA on, right? For this, right, maybe choosing a CMS, the best content to display on is actually this article right here. For this, maybe this article may be something else, right? I have to pick one that is like the ground truth for this call to action. Now, once you have selected that, then basically you just have to set it up in the contextual CTA region of the blog. So if you head over to the Wisp layout, right, you can click on here. You can see contextual CTA right here. Click on it. You can see this is in early beta mode because I'm still receiving lots of feedback from our early user, and that could be you, right? And over here, you can see the 3 different kind of call to actions that I've already set up, right? For you, when you come in, it's going to be empty. Just click on create new CTAs, and there are a few things that you need to fill in. The first one is a slug, where it's basically just an ID for you to identify which call to action to serve on the front end later. The second and third field is the title and description. I personally use it for annotation. It's not injected into the front end, but feel free to do that, right? And the third thing is that once I have created the ID and I would like to select the content that is the ground truth for the call to action, because what it's going to do is that it's going to find articles like the one that you have picked, right, and serve the CTA on those articles, right? And it does this by comparing the distance between the CTAs, the different CTAs, and choose the one that matches your content the most closely, right? So the more granular CTAs that you have, you can have 10, 20 of them, right? The better it is able to pick out like what is what is it about. But we have to also avoid trying to over optimize on that, right? So for a start, I would say start off with 2 or 3 call to action and see how are your blog posts tagged. Speaking of which, once you have set up your contextual CTA, right, you'll start to see that once you're in your publishing tab, you would be able to hover over the green light over here, and you can see the recommended call to action that will be appearing for this article, right? So if let's say this is talking about how to automatically track Google Ads, this call to action is choosing a CTA, CMS, right? And if I'm looking at something more engineering, like breaking out of the Tailwind container, right? It's getting engineers time back from marketing, right? So that's how you see what kind of call to action is going to be served, right? And that's it, right? The moment you set up those, right, you will be able to fetch the call to action with our API. I'm going to show you a sample here, right? So with Wisp, right, all I can do is I can go to a blog, right, and let's say I would like to know what kind of call to action is served here, right? You can see the top choice is actually choosing a CMS, right? But if I use the API, so this is the API, I'm going to call very quickly the call to actions, right? And over here, I am going to add limit equals to 2. Right, you can see these are the top 2 CTAs in order of priority. The closest one is choosing a CMS. The next closest one is getting engineering time back. If I set it to 3, you can see all the 3 CMS suggestions being returned right here. And getting started with content is hard is actually the furthest away from here, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so how do you get the documentations over here, right? So now, if you're keen to integrate it to your front end, all you need to do is head over to Content API. Click on this section on Get Contextual CTA for Blog Posts. This is actually the URL that you have to call to actually get the CTA. You can see a sample here. For those of you who are using the JavaScript SDK, right, just head over here. You can see there is actually the functions that you can call here that basically gives you pretty much the same response back. Okay, so that's how you integrate it. And that's it, right? So if you are looking to multiply your conversion rate and see how and want to attach a contextual CTA to your front end, that's how you do it. To give you an idea of like how we are rendering it right now, we have a contextual CTA component at the front end that accepts a variant, and this is actually what I'm getting from here, right? So the moment I get the slug over here, right, it is used to it's passing through the variant so that I can render my call to action. So very quickly, I might be adding sample components of the contextual CTA onto the documentation so that you can also copy and paste and serve contextual CTA on your front end as well, right? But for now, feel free to experiment it for yourself and try out, serving your own contextual CTA without like this component over here. Okay. Thank you very much, and I hope your conversion actually multiplies from here.